such an intense time right now. I can even feel it in my voice, which is a bit shaky. It feels like a threshold somehow. Yeah, there's definitely something shifting right now. And we can all see it, we can all feel it. There's something shifting collectively, but also on an individual level. There is increasing energy of resistance, healthy resistance, and a growing awareness around our values and our boundaries, especially when we feel like they're being ignored or threatened or even taken away. And at the same time, there's also an energy of letting go of old limiting structures, limiting beliefs, and layers are being shed of everything that has kind of grown too tight around us, that kind of no longer fits who we truly are, who we are becoming, right? And I hear stories from so many friends right now who tell me that they feel like their boundaries are being tested. And we all know this question when we ask ourselves, like, shall I shrink myself to keep the peace, or do I stand up for myself and risk discomfort? We're still in the final 2 weeks of the wood snake. At the same time, also we have like Imbolc at the beginning of February, so also about shedding old layers and new life emerging. Very, very special time. And I just had to think of a snake shedding its skin. When we think of that, we notice that it moves against certain objects that create a friction or a resistance. And these are the very things that help the old skin loosen and fall away, because what once protected it now limits its movement. And this phase can feel very intense, and it might bring situations into our life where we feel tested. And when we ask ourselves, like, are we able to show up authentically, even if it feels uncomfortable? Or, are we able to know our worth and stand up for ourselves, even, when it means not being mad, or maybe making someone angry, or maybe even risking separation? Right now might be a really good time to notice whether you can show up authentically in a relationship, in an environment, or whether you need to hide certain parts of yourself in a way that it feels like a denial. And if that's the case, it might be pointing to old limiting layers that are ready to be shed. And I just want to say that our connections, our chosen family, or the environment we spend most of our time in, it should be a safe space where we are able to express ourselves authentically. It shouldn't be a space where we're afraid of showing ourselves, where we feel like we need to deny ourselves. It just should be a space where growth is possible and where communication is encouraged and allowed. And where there's a basic willingness to understand one another. And right now might also be a time where your boundary might become someone else's trigger, or the other way around, where you might get triggered by someone else's boundary. And that is also a very good opportunity to pause and to look at the underlying patterns and to test and find out whether you're able to sit with complexity and ambiguity rather than immediately going into the pain body or the vicious cycle, of this mutual field of hurt self-worth. And I know it's always easier just to put blame on someone, label someone, just judge them and put them into a box, simply burn bridges, than to sit with complexity and ambiguity. It's always easier, but sometimes there is also a mismatch of needs, and that is no one's fault. Your boundaries are important, and expressing your needs is important, and by standing up for yourself, you're strengthening your self-worth, and you're letting go of a version of yourself that you've already outgrown. And this won't always create harmony and comfort, rather the opposite. It might also lead to separation. And by that I don't mean division, because division isn't separation, because we can separate from someone who we still love, or where there's still love present. And speaking for myself, I went through very painful separation last year, where there was a mismatch of needs, but there was still love present. And what turned it into a really healing experience, actually, where I can grow from. Do you say it like that? I grow, yeah. Is the fact that we were able to communicate with each other and to communicate our needs and our boundaries, and that there was this level of mutual trust in that moment. If you really truly care for someone, you want them to be happy. And that is what connection is all about. It's like, the relationships, the connections we're in are always mirrors. They're always mirrors. They're not there to make us happy or to fulfill us. That's not the point. It's for us to grow and to learn and to evolve. That is the purpose of relationship, of connection. Yeah. I will take you with me into my day now. It's still early in the morning. It's dark outside. I wanted to do ice bathing today. It's like 3 Celsius probably outside. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. Very, very cold, but still not freezing, but still very cold. So I wanted to do that and maybe tidy up a little bit, because my son has been with me, but now he's with his dad, and I don't have to work today, so that's good. And maybe I will cook something nice, and let's see, probably keep on reflecting on what I've just been talking about. Oh, I hope this won't make me sick. There's even a chair. I guess it belongs to someone. What I love about ice bathing or cold exposure is that it has a lot to do with authenticity and with your boundaries and with self-trust, actually. Because the moment you enter the cold water, all masks drop. Because you can't please, you can't perform or overthink. Your nervous system goes straight to the truth. Am I safe? What do I need right now? And that's where authenticity begins, when the body speaks before the story. And you learn the difference between discomfort and danger. And this is huge for people who over-accommodate or stay too long in situations that hurt, or who confuse endurance with love. Or also for people who are just praised for being strong. Because in the ice or the cold water, You practice asking, is this uncomfortable but okay, or is this too much? And then, crucially, you act on the answer, and that skill transfers directly to life. It means standing up for yourself and saying, this is my limit, and now I'm stepping out. My feet are freezing, and there's duck poop, but I'm feeling great. You learn to trust your direct knowing, and that's actually the same muscle you use when setting boundaries. Like when you're saying no without over-explaining, or expressing something unpopular but true, or leaving a relationship or roles that don't fit anymore. And we all know these situations in life that are really intense, and when we need to ask ourselves if we can stay with this intensity without abandoning ourselves, and also knowing that we can leave without guilt when it's too much or too overwhelming. And that, to me, is authentic expression. That is standing up for yourself and embody truth, actually.
For our final season, we are in the eye of the storm.
We are in DC because our country is in turmoil right now.
Culture has shifted. What's appropriate is different. What isn't appropriate is very different. But the message has always been the same. It's always been about connecting with other people that we don't understand.
Wir nehmen mal.
Nee, ich guck gerade nur, ich überlege gerade noch. Dankeschön.
Everything is relationship. We're always in relationship with ourselves and with everything around us, with other people, with situations, with life, and that's something I have really had to learn the hard way. I don't think relationships are here to make us happy. That's too much pressure to put on another human being anyway. To me, relationships are mirrors, as I said, and they show us where we're connected to ourselves and where we start to abandon ourselves. And they show us where we ignore our boundaries and lower our needs because we're afraid of losing connection. And over time, that's usually where self-worth starts to erode. And standing up for yourself in a relationship, it's not about being confrontational or difficult. It's about staying honest and authentic, and about trusting that your feelings and limits matter, even if it creates discomfort, especially then. Because real intimacy doesn't come from constant harmony. It comes from being able to stay present with another person without disappearing, and noticing the moments when you do, because those moments are usually pointing back to yourself. And these last weeks of the wood snake, it's a time where, old patterns are loosening, and even if we don't know or fully know what's coming next, and also with Imbolc beginning and the fire horse on the horizon, there is, I would say, the sense of gathering honesty and authenticity rather than momentum, and not rushing forward, but making sure that what we carry with us now is true and rooted in the heart, if that makes sense.
It's definitely impressive how some human constellations are there to free us, but they come in such a disguise that you really go through something with them. They have the capacity of triggering our own ego voices to the extent that they are so reactivated that we can no longer decide whether it's actually the person inflicting that on us or ourselves. But if we stay present, if we stay mindful and simply in this container of I am aware of it, then these people, they're just the most amazing teachers for us. They're just the hardcore Zen masters that apply this fierce grace on us, and they're definitely meant to be in our lives, even though they have the tendency or the capacity in a way to rip us apart. Yeah. Yeah, we're all going through this age of dismantling and cleansing and shedding and whatnot. And some people are just our catalysts, aren't they?